Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Sophisticated Ignorance. I am Nieema Simone.
And I am Steven, and we have a very special guest this week.
Sure do.
Go ahead and introduce
Oh,
yourself.
I can introduce myself. I'm like, okay, where's my introduction? This is your girl, Mandii B, a.k.a. Full Court Pumps of Whoreible Decisions podcast.
Yes.
And,
so before we go into why we asked you to be on the show, we'll just do our usual current events, as always.
Cool.
Nieema,
I'm down with that.
Start?
I'm over here trying to make sure I look cute in the camera. Sorry, guys.
I'm very nervous because we don't talk about current events.
No,
So I hope
fun.
I'm current on these events.
Don't worry about it, because sometimes I'm not, and I just have to ask Steven, like, what are you talking about?
Okay.
That happens
we do,
a lot.
Yeah,
though.
that do that.
All right.
We do that all
Bad.
the time.
All right, good to know, good to know.
So the first thing we have, of course, is Gucci Mane and Keisha Kayor.
Yes.
I think you're the
they got
first
married.
person to actually pronounce her last name.
Because
correctly.
people are fucking idiots. Well, before I say that, I was a fan of her when she was Keisha Dior.
Keisha
When
Dior,
she
yeah.
was just a video model. And I liked her because she was like one of the first like real thick, voluptuous, natural women that I saw. For me personally.
Natural.
so I was like, holy shit, like she looks really, so I became a fan of her. And then she started selling makeup, and I'm a makeup artist, so that's how I came to know her back in like 2009 or 10.
Okay.
And I became familiar with her. And I guess she changed her name to Kayor because of Dior, and her line was called Kayor Cosmetics. I don't know.
Gotcha.
Who knows? But yeah, those two motherfuckers got married.
I didn't
and
watch
now
it. Did you watch it?
I did watch it because I wanted to see her outfit. I wanted to see how her dress was going to turn out because she's very Jamaican. And if you're familiar
Wait,
with
what
the
does that
Caribbean,
mean?
Jamaican women are very fucking extra. Like, they are very extra with everything, down to their hairstyles. And if you remember Keisha Kayor, her hair used to be like, she was known for that mohawk.
Yep, the mohawk.
With that fucking long bang and a little, rat tail in the back, the little cuts on the little blade cuts on the side. And she was lit. So, they're just extra, and I wanted to see how she pulled it off. Gucci likes diamonds. She likes diamonds. I wanted to see the sparkle and shine. It was cute. My only discrepancy about the show is that they show the wedding first, and not how they led up to the wedding. Yeah, so the build up is going to be, I guess, for the next couple of episodes.
So they had like a full-fledged show, like series.
Yeah, it was an hour-long wedding, interviewed celebrities, then show their wedding, and then for the next couple of weeks they're going to show how she planned the wedding. I thought that was kind of dumb, but
that's different.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't watch it at all because one, I
either.
didn't care, and then two, from what I saw, people were saying how like there was no emotion the whole time, like it looked mad staged. Like they didn't really show any sort of energy between the two.
I just wasn't interested. I think anytime you do a live event, even looking at it on Instagram, all of these celebrities that were in attendance, and I'm like, are y'all really friends with these people? Though?
I was shocked.
I was just like, what? Carucci? And like, I was completely confused. Like, the entire Love and Hip Hop cast was there. They are not on Love and Hip Hop.
What?
At all.
I didn't feel like it was a genuine wedding with genuine friends and family. Like, it seemed just like how Yandy's wedding was. It was a fucking production.
Yeah, it has
like I'm not interested in that.
The family members from both sides said that they had no part. They didn't even know when the shit was going down. They found out just like the rest of us.
Listen, it be like
I
that
think
sometimes.
Gucci brothers.
My
spoke
wedding's
about
gonna be
it.
like that. If any of my family listen, a lot of y'all not invited. I don't know if y'all knew that.
Why? Why are you not
They know
inviting
that
your
shit
family
now.
to your wedding?
All of them can't come.
Are you having a courthouse wedding or something?
I would, just so all of them don't have to show up.
Okay.
Oh, I'll do a
That's another
destination
topic.
wedding.
Yeah,
That's another topic.
I'm not even thinking of a wedding.
That shit is hilarious. This nigga's leaving the country just to avoid
Listen,
family.
Like, sorry, gotta go. Pew! Like,
Out of here.
out of here. But then it came the whole relationship goals. Everybody felt like you should be like
that
Keisha
too.
Kayor because she held the nigga down. I'm not holding nobody down. I already have quote unquote my own struggles. I'm not taking on another fucking struggle. That's just not happening.
It's so funny because I say
can't.
it all the time. My friends make fun of me. Like, I kind of talk to lames, but it's because, like, one, I'm not talking to a street nigga. I'm not talking to a scammer. I'm not talking to a drug dealer. I'm not talking to anybody who has time. I'm literally not interested in holding someone down who's in jail. I barely want to hold a nigga down while he's trying to build his shit. I need a nigga that's put together. I'm not in high school. I'm almost 30. I need a man who we can build together, not where I'm sitting here having to lift him up. I didn't spit nobody out of my vagina. I ain't gotta lift nobody up.
I'm not your
So
mammy.
I'm not here for doing any of that.
Nope.
I don't know.
Tap me out. Hold you down. Hold you down for what?
Why you looking at me?
Wait.
I'm
Hold you down
innocent
for what?
here.
Because you a
I'm
Brooklyn
not-
nigga. And y'all all gotta be lifted up. I'm just saying. Okay.
Listen. Okay.
I'm
I ain't
getting
doing
attacked
it.
on my own show. This is crazy.
I love it. Because then I'm like, tag you in, get him. And it's fucking amazing.
Next.
Right now.
Next topic.
Waka Flocka is not black. He is of indigenous descent. I went on about this, the other day. And I get what he meant. I totally get it. You can identify however you want to identify. That's fine. You know what I'm saying? I just felt like
He should have been more educated about
But
what
you
he
know
was
what?
saying.
I watched his interview, and then I watched Tammy's, his wife, interview, and she just said, Waka gets excited. He reads shit for 2 weeks and think he knows everything. And he says it. That was pretty much the pretense of it. And then he says it. And then, once he realized or he saw that, I kind of fucked up on it, he just doubled down on it again. Like, but, fuck that.
You know what? Me and Waka used to be really good friends. And when we were around, first of all, he's a heavy smoker. He loves fucking smoking. We went to Greenhouse one night. He bought mad bottles, and he went to light up. And they didn't let him light up at Greenhouse. And he said, fuck this, we're leaving. And we literally, the bottle stayed there. We walked up out the club. And I remember us having, it was probably a high conversation. But he literally was just like, if we were talking about having X amount of dollars and what you would do. And he was just talking about how he would bring it back to Africa and how, but what he says is always so deep. It's just like, you would do what, nigga? So when I saw this interview and him saying what he said about, I'm not black, I'm this, I'm that, that's him.
Yeah, that's what
it's literally it's him.
I get it, and I got what he was trying to say. I could break it. I got it 100%. Right. But then it's you have those other people who take being black as a bad thing. So if they're not smart enough to understand really what he was saying, it might go over their fucking head.
But
and
it's also black isn't
right. It isn't.
I'm not black. I'm not a color. I'm of this. Right.
But some people don't understand the difference.
Motherfuckers ain't even got passports.
People be way too
there you
woke
go.
about
way
shit.
too woke.
That. Yeah. He said that too, and I was just like, you can't necessarily be offended by what he said.
He didn't say anything
it
wrong.
wasn't.
Right.
Yeah, but
it's just shock value.
Right.
That's all that is.
What was that on? Sway? Or Shade 4-5 or something like that?
Sway,
it got them motherfucking views because that shit was plastered every where.
Yeah, I listened to it and I was like, well, he does kind of have a point. And nothing he said was wrong.
Yeah, he didn't say anything offensive.
Yeah.
It's just
so I didn't really understand what was
because it's thing. You can almost say it's almost like a trend to be so supportive of being black. Or just the term itself. Mm-hmm. So for him to quote unquote denounce it, it's oh, you just trying to smear our name.
Yeah. I just think people are very sensitive right now. We had Jada and XD on the show, and they have a very woke following. I call them the shea butter followers, whatever. Stop. But I do. I'm just saying, they're fucking shea butter. So we got new listeners, and I remember one went back to a previous episode. Me and my co-host are both biracial, and she came on there and wrote a long-ass SoundCloud review, iTunes, and was mad that I said I had good hair because my mom is white or something like that. And I didn't even say it along those lines, but the fact that I said good hair, she went into this whole fucking forum oh my God, she said she had good hair and da-da-da. And I'm just and then someone else got mad that I mentioned South Africa had a lot of white people when I went.
Because they
do.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Right. And so this other woman from South Africa wrote me and was I just feel like you didn't go to the real part of South Africa. And I'm just if you look at the history, I learned about the apartheid when I went to Johannesburg. I went to Cape Town. It's there's white people there. And when you think of Africa, you don't necessarily think about white people. So it was a shock for me having been able to experience that. And not only that, know that in South Africa, they had the issues with race between the blacks and the whites, just like we do here. And you think of Africa, you think of the motherland, you think of blacks, you think of black power. And to know that they too went through the, difficulty and all of that between the races, it was something that I mentioned, and I got fucking shunned for that. So you can't be woke enough, or you're not woke. You know, it's just too much. I just can't fucking take it.
Yeah, there's no gray area.
I made a comment the other day. You just have to know your audience. You know what I'm saying? Like
Sure.
I say certain things, and I don't mean it that way, but I say it in a way so other people can understand. But then someone else might get upset that I said it in that way. It's like, but if you knew what the fuck I meant, why are you so angry? I'm just.
Or if you feel a way, ask first. Don't just automatically respond.
Ask. Motherfuckers don't ask.
I'm just saying.
No, they take shit and run with it. And I literally had to sit here and tell Weezy, like, listen, we're not going to appeal or please everyone in everything we say. And at the end of the day, like, own up to what the fuck you have to say. Don't be a walking contradiction. And then you're fine. People don't have to agree with us. People don't have to like what we say. And if people think you a hoe, okay, let them think that. Like, at the end of the day, people are going to have their ideas and misconceptions and opinions about everything. You just got to fucking let them talk and let them think what they want and keep it fucking moving.
And I had to get to a point where I was just like, all y'all can suck my dick. Especially doing this podcast, because everybody got something to say.
I wish.
I just want to read.
Nobody has said Nobody has said anything wild to us as of yet.
No?
Yeah. Actually, that Tabria situation.
Oh, wait, y'all talk about Tabria? What?
No, she was
on our show.
Really?
Time.
And what did she say?
They took that whole episode and they started like fat shaming her, and then they had shit to say about her and me as well.
Oh, I've had that said. Well, I also have a very raspy voice, and so one of the listeners who apparently feels some type of way about me asked if I have cum stuck in my throat because my fucking voice is raspy. And then said that I body shame Weezy for being small. I'm just like, Jesus Christ, I done heard it all. I literally have heard it all. And maybe because we're a little bit more racy with what we say. Right. People. So wait, they didn't like. How are they gonna fat shame an episode? What y'all were clearly talking about thicker women on that episode.
We was talking about like dating fetishes, like how black women.
We talked about that.
Like how certain black men would fetish Latino women, or how like white women would fetish black men and shit like that.
It's so funny. Why I ended up going through with it, I don't know. Just recently, I had a guy hit me up and super, just had a bitch. So I was just like, nigga, what you doing for me type shit. But we ended up talking, and I don't know why he thought it was okay to say, but he was like, you're on my bucket list. And listen, and it wasn't. Don't listen.
Every day.
I mean, he didn't talk it all the way out. But anyway, but I was like, and because people have followed me on social media, I'm like, I'm on your bucket list, and he was like, no, like your size. I've never been with a girl your size or your shape. And I was just like, I get that a lot because of my size. I don't know if it's an ego booster for niggas, but guys want to feel like they can handle all of me.
It's a fetish.
It's fucking annoying, and it's bothersome. I mean, but I get it. It happens.
Nieema said that before, because then you start to get confused, like whether he actually likes you
me or if it's just a fetish.
Really on his list, like
especially
bucket list.
Especially coming from both sides. When
got that one off the board.
I have been a lot smaller for a long period of time, and then I gained weight. It's like I know what the attention is from both sides. So what exactly do you want exactly? Like, are you just trying to talk to me because you're like, I want to see if I can handle you? I've never been with a chubby chick. Or is it because you actually like me? Like, no. Which is it?
Nope. It's a sex thing.
And this is why I send my Cash App information now. Like, what?
Oh, you too? You too?
Yes. Someone told me to do that, so I don't care. And I have a lot of white guys, pursuing me now. So they be like, it's crazy. Like, they would really give you money for stuff.
Girl,
anyway, that's enough.
Didn't I been told you need to these niggas for every penny they got?
But I always feel bad. I don't feel bad anymore.
You feel what? Girl, this nigga hopped to my deals with a bitch, and I said, listen, this is a dead-end relationship, so what can you do for me? Because dick is not what I want. Excuse me. And he happens to have a lot of money. So I said, I know what I want. I want a lot of money. And so he was just like, well, what if I didn't have this money? I said, nigga, we wouldn't be talking. I said, we wouldn't be talking. So that's that. But yeah, no, I definitely get the fetishism. Like, I get that a lot. And I don't think people realize, like, I've had discussions where, like, I've been told, you're someone that looks like fun. I couldn't take you to church and I couldn't take you to my mom because of the way you're shaped. You look like fun. And I literally had to have a whole discussion because I was with my much smaller friend and he's like, see, she looks like wifey material. And it was basically based off of our shapes and sizes. And I was just like, to know that men really think this way is just because mind you, she's pretty much on a more whole level than I am. God damn it! But because she's smaller and she looks more innocent and not as voluptuous, it was just like, yeah, you look like fun, and that's pretty much the box that you're put into for that. So sorry for like clearing out of current events. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
I do this shit all the time.
Oh, okay.
What is with this RZA and Azalea Banks? Why are we always talking about Azalea Banks? She get on my fucking
Why are you so angry right now?
Why are you bringing her up then?
It's not a thing.
I don't know.
I just saw it.
What did she do now?
Tied into the whole grander topic.
Azalea Banks.
Because RZA was on the Breakfast Club and he admitted that the whole Azalea Banks thing with Russell Crowe really happened.
Who is this? Oh, it's the RZA guy. Who is RZA?
He's an old rapper, right?
RZA.
Oh yeah.
Are you giving me shame again because I don't know New York artists?
From
Wu-Tang Clan.
There we go.
Oh.
Judge me not.
Still don't know them.
But yeah, because he confirmed that the whole Azalea Banks and Russell Crowe thing actually happened. It was like a year or two ago. She claimed that they was at some sort of event overseas and that she was technically acting a certain way and Russell Crowe attempted to spit on her.
Whoa.
Oh.
Yeah. And so when he was on the Breakfast Club, he said, yeah, it really happened. But nobody held Russell Crowe accountable.
Okay.
So then it was like, okay, now you're defending, like, you know, how you're mistreating a woman.
Okay.
Yeah. But she, fuck it being a male or a woman, when you act a certain way, I don't think that needs defending.
Well,
like,
I don't know.
She clearly shows her ass a lot. I'm sorry, you're not gonna see her and act like she was just doing nothing and then he just walked over and spit on her. She fucking shows her ass.
This is true.
And I think that even though there definitely should be a line drawn between how a man treats a female, I think that women need to be accountable for their actions as well. And that's coming from me as a female.
True, but
like,
the still spitting thing. That's
spitting is disrespectful.
Yeah,
that's pure disrespect.
And I think because it got some pub, and I think the reason why I got the pub is like because men don't hold men accountable when it comes to certain actions, especially towards the opposite sex.
Yeah.
And then of course maybe because she was a black woman and Russell was white.
There you go.
That could be it too.
Next topic.
This is Azalea Banks. I don't like her.
Right, I don't really follow her. I don't know what her music is.
Right, but then I forgot. She actually makes music.
Right. Right.
That's enough pub for her.
Right.
Okay, next topic. Harvey Weinstein and the Me Too hashtag. So Harvey Weinstein, I heard a little bit about it.
Why are you putting
Harvey Weinstein is a Hollywood exec and like director and known for creating a lot of hit films. Apparently, he has been accused of sexually assaulting multiple women, and also claiming that, and the women are also claiming that they were stopped from receiving roles if they didn't go through with doing certain things with him. He would have meetings in his hotel rooms, and he would just make it very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
To me, this isn't a shocker. Like, you hear a lot of stuff that you need to do in Hollywood. Unfortunately, that it's disgusting that men use their power to do these things. But it's not surprising.
Yeah, I'm not shocked.
I'm not shocked. Anyway. I'm not shocked at all. So.
And the Me Too hashtag. I saw that going around a lot. Basically, women was like posting a status saying that, you know, talking about sexual assault, harassment, and if this happened to you, you put like hashtag Me Too. So that's what that thing was going on. I saw that hashtag going on a lot, and it was crazy because people I necessarily didn't think had any situations involving sexual harassment or even rape or molestation. They were putting that up. I was
like the girl from the Pussycat Dolls. Yeah. She came forward. Then you had Terry Crews talking about how even as a man, like his dick was grabbed at an event. So I mean, it happens and it's unfortunate, but it happens a lot. Yeah.
A whole lot. So this entire episode was basically inspired by, I guess, Mandii. I believe Steven saw her IG story and then he sent it to
Yeah, basically, I woke up one day.
Basically.
Yeah.
Alright, so
Woke up and I just went to IG and then I normally don't even play like IG stories like that. But I just happened to just start playing the IG stories and then I saw your story and I was like, whoa, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
From the details behind it.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's even more frustrating after I shared that. Like, an incident happened the very next week again. But not the same exact thing, but another one. And prior to, I guess, should I tell the story?
Yeah,
like,
go ahead.
You tell it.
So we're all New Yorkers. We live in New York. If you live here, you take the train. I was coming from work about 2 weeks ago. And if you've been on rush hour trains, you would know that they're not comfortable. They're not fun. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of fucking people. And so I was coming home from work and I was on the Green Line. I was on the Express 6 heading back home to the Bronx. And at 125th, I switched over from the 4 and 5 and onto the 6. When I got onto the 6, I was literally probably the last person to squeeze in. If you know what I mean, like right before the doors close, I'm literally right in front of the door and there's no movement. I'm literally holding on to the door to stay standing up. And a guy is behind me. And normally I already always feel like not at ease when a guy is right behind me because I have a big butt. And so I, for one, don't want to make a guy feel uncomfortable, but I also don't like feeling a guy on my butt that I don't want. Mm-hmm. And so for about 2 stops, this was from 125th all the way to Hunts Point, I felt him behind me. And I was trying to move my bag behind me and everything because normally that's what I do. I put my purse behind my back to cover my butt. And I kept feeling him, but I'm just thinking nothing.
It's crowded.
I'm thinking it's crowded. I can't do anything. I'm hoping it's something in his gym bag. I'm hoping it's not his penis that I'm feeling. And so when we get to Hunts Point, we both have to step out of the train to allow somebody, to allow the people off before we get back on because I'm blocking the door. And as we both step off, I look down and his entire dick is out of his pants. And so I realized that for the about 8 minutes between these 2 stops, he had his entire raw dick on my ass. Mm-hmm. And I looked down and couldn't fucking believe it. Like, that his dick was out of his, and everything that I just felt, it wasn't that it was through his pants. Like, he unzipped his pants to put it on me. And what frustrated me more is I'm this loud fucking, I don't want to say obnoxious, but I'm very, fuck off. No, but I'm a very, outspoken individual. Like, I'm gonna be probably the loudest one in the room. Everyone's gonna know I'm there. And when I looked down and saw that, I froze. I honestly, it was like I was in shock. Like, I couldn't believe that had just happened. I've never really felt as violated in my life ever for this to happen. And I guess by the time I realized, he started walking down the platform, and I just got back into the train and just started fucking crying. I just started crying because it's just like, why didn't I swing on him? Why didn't I? And I just started blaming myself because I'm just like, fuck, he's probably going to get on the train and do it to someone else now. And this was my chance to stand up, and I didn't. And you always think about what you would do if something were to happen. You hear stories from so many other women, and you just constantly think about what you would have done. And this was me, and I fucking froze. And it was just, I don't know. I just didn't know what to expect. And so that was kind of what happened to me. And this was the first time I feel like in my life I was truly violated by a guy. And to me, there's been instances, and I sit here and blame women too, which I shouldn't, but there's been instances where I've gotten intoxicated. I maybe was dressed a way that, was a little showing. And so I've had guys violate me in those situations, and I put blame on myself. But this time, I'm completely covered up. I'm coming home from work. I'm in a train. I'm not at a party. I'm not drunk. There was literally nothing about me that asked for this.
Right.
And I hate, to say that us women ask for things or put ourselves in situations, but unfortunately we do. And I feel like we should take responsibility. So when this happened to me, knowing that I literally
froze.
Not only did I freeze, but I didn't put myself in a situation to ask for this. Or I didn't put myself in a situation where a guy would feel like he could. And again, like, as women, when we are intoxicated or flirty or dressed a certain way, there are lines to where it could be blurred. Mm-hmm. There was no blurring here. Mm-hmm. My nigga, I'm coming from work. I don't want your raw dick on my ass, and so to me, knowing that I was that female that was always like, well, as a woman, what did you do to put yourself in this situation? To know that women are out here being violated for no reason, it has completely shifted my entire thought process just on, no, I didn't ask for it. No, it's,
right.
And it's unfortunate that even when I told this story to people, they've laughed. And like, well, your ass probably turned them on. Or look at those hips. You can't hide those in your work clothes. And I've gotten those responses to this story. That's so crazy. To know that people still feel like because my body type, of course that's going to happen to me. I've been like, are you fucking kidding me?
And I think that's probably the biggest reason why I have reached out to you to bring you on the show. It's because it's a conversation that needs to be had. Because when I first started watching the video, I immediately sent it to the both of them. And then the first thing that threw me off was the first video you actually showed what you was wearing that day.
I did.
It was like, in that circumstance, you didn't need to post a video to validate your attire.
And I still felt like I did as a woman. I had long sleeves on and pants.
You already know what kind of responses you would have got.
Yeah, like even my mom, I had to cuss her out because she's like, well, you do have a show called Maybe He's a Listener. And I'm just like, Mom, are you kidding me? Like, I had to literally go in on my mom. I said, are you fucking kidding me right now? I said, I don't care if he's a listener. And I said, we talk about that all the time on the show. Just because I talk about sex, just because I'm open about sexuality, does not give any guy the reason to think that he can approach me in any type of manner. And I was like, I don't care if he's a listener. I don't care if he saw my cover art with a fucking banana in my mouth. I don't fucking care. Like, just because I talk about sex does not mean I want to have sex with you. And I say it all the time. Even when you tweet sexual things, people think, well, you're tweeting about it. You got to be this way.
It doesn't validate anything.
No, it doesn't. It really, truly doesn't. And so even the responses, I felt like that's why I had to validate what I had on because...
That was crazy to me.
Yeah.
And then the craziest part to me was that it was in the middle of rush hour. That was the one that threw me
And
off.
everyone keeps saying nobody saw it, but it's like, you know how close people are.
Yeah, people see it. But New Yorkers have this thing where it's like they ignore shit that's right in front of them.
But you know what? We weren't standing in front of other people, so I genuinely don't think that anyone saw it because when I started crying, the whole train was just like, couldn't believe what had just happened. And even the lady behind me was like, yo, I would have fucking put my key in his throat. You gotta say something. No. Like, she literally was going off, you gotta say something. And, yeah, it was literally just a shock. And what's crazy is it happened this week. Again, I'm on the train from rush hour heading to class, and this guy gets on. And this is so unfortunate to me that both were black men. As someone who only dates black men, it's bothered me. Like, I had a date that night that happened, and I completely canceled it. I didn't even want to be around men at the time. And so this week I'm on the train, and this guy gets on. It's rush hour again, and this time I'm standing in front of people on the bench. I'm standing in front of someone with my hand on the rail, and this guy gets in. I'm right here, another guy is right here, and he comes in from the door. And he's literally putting his arm above me and telling me to scoot over to stand in front of him. And I'm just like, I'm not going to stand in front of you. What are you doing? And he's like, just scoot over. And was literally to where everyone on the train was talking. So because I didn't scoot over, he decided to call me a lesbian. He said, I smell a lesbian. And I guess it's because I didn't want to stand in front of him. Right. So thank God there was a black lady on the train. And apparently her brother was a cop. And she's like, there has to be a cop on this train. You know what I smell? I smell a fucking pedophile. I smell a pervert. because it was very obvious what he was trying to do. Mm-hmm. And the fact that there was a white man sitting in front of me, like, shaking his head, could not believe it. What the fuck?
People are fucking weird, but to piggyback off of, men finding it funny, not trying to know Steven, you know, I gotta say this, though. But it's been a situation to whereas I actually, told Steven, and, you know, our friend Vixon, like, some dude really just stood in front of me the whole fucking time. Deliberately, with his dick in my face. Mind you, I'm trying to move this way. Every time I move, he moved with me. And, you know, because I am who I am, I guess not joking, I laugh a lot, and I be ready to fuck niggas up. They kind of laughed and brushed it off. And I was like, so when they sent me the video of you, I'm like, how can you possibly, no shade, how can you possibly feel so bad for someone else you don't even fucking know when it happened to me and I'm your homegirl and you thought this shit was kind of funny? Yeah. It's not okay. You can't pick and choose who you feel bad for. I agree. And that shit kind of bothered me a lot. Like, so this shit that just happened to me, and I said it, and you kind of laughed it off.
But I think it has to do with even my guy when I told him, he was like, "Well, look at your hips, and I don't know why they want to make a light matter of it when they know the person, right? Because it's like it's really out here happening and. The way you're laughing at it because you know me, that's even worse. And then to know that you may feel like you could do that to somebody you know. You can't. Right. It's not appropriate. Right. It's not warranted. We don't want that. And I don't know. This is definitely a topic like I've never been raped. I'm not one of those individuals who have gone through an experience like this. And like I said, for certain girls who do claim those, I have thought, well, what did she do? And so literally to have experienced to where I didn't do anything, it's just like, oh wow, like this shit is real. Yeah. This shit is real and these niggas is out here fucked up in the motherfucking head.
And then I bring it up how I might be out with my girls or like even my guy friends. You know, we chilling after work. Everybody got on jeans or sweats or whatever. Everybody chilling, we hanging out. But guys find a way to deliberately want to squeeze past me and rub their dick on my butt. Them not turn around. All of a sudden nobody don't see nothing. Or someone touched my ass. Who the fuck just did that? You know, you turn around like, what the fuck is wrong with y'all? Yeah. Like, I'm not shaking, I'm not twerking. I'm literally standing here talking to my homegirl. Yeah. And we laughing and we drinking. But you feel the need to walk past me, want to grab my ass. And it's not okay because, oh, you kind of thick. Or you kind of pretty. Yeah. Or maybe he thought this. Or maybe it's not fucking okay and it's not funny. No. This shit ain't funny.
1,000% agree.
And I don't understand why certain men think they brush it off or they don't hold other men responsible. I don't know if they really just don't give a fuck. Like, I really don't know what it is to whereas people lack empathy when it comes to certain things. Even back to the whole Nelly situation, that rape thing, whether it happened or not, why automatically you brushing it off because of who he is and who she is?
And it's crazy because I'm really, like, Maul on the Joe Budden podcast is a friend of mine. Yeah. And I listened to that episode, and they talked about the Nelly rape. And to me, I don't mind people having an input on who they believe or blah, 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 blah. First off, neither of them know Nelly personally. I've met him personally. I personally didn't believe he did it. Mm-hmm. That was me based off of my interaction with him. However, the fact that Maul went on a public platform and said Nelly doesn't have to rape, that to me was putting if a guy has money, if a guy looks good, if a guy, and you can't sit here and assume that because shit, look at Darren Sharper, fine as fuck. Nigga was a fucking, in the NFL, won a ring with the Saints. I think the Saints won a ring, right? Yeah. With Reggie Bush when he was on. Yeah, they did. Because that's when I saw him first. He was on TV. He actually used to date Gabrielle Union. And he is in jail right now for rapes in about 3 different states. And what he did was drug them and fuck them. And everyone even said, he didn't have to do that. He's fine. He has money. Why does he have to rape women? There's women that throw pussy at him. And so for you as a man to sit here and say another man doesn't have to rape, it's not about pussy. It's about power. Power, yeah. There's reasons why these men do this. It's for humiliation. It's for power. It's to feel like, and a lot of them have fucking things wrong with them. There's fucking mental issues that these men have. Mm-hmm. Like, there's actually, so we look up kinks and fetishes on my podcast a lot. There's an actual kink that men like the feeling of fucking a corpse. So if a female is passed out or you drug them and they can't move, a guy can be aroused by fucking a lifeless body. Mm-hmm. Now you're not dead. He's not going to a cemetery fucking you, but the fact that you're powerless to him arouses him. So there's actual things like this that people could be, turned on by.
I forgot what serial killer was. Was it Ted Bundy? He would kill the men and then he would do sexual things
with their body parts or something.
Yes,
there's literal things like this. So it's like to sit here and say, yo, I don't think Nelly raped old girl because he doesn't have to. None of these niggas have to rape women. They don't have to. So it was one of those where Ma, as a motherfucking friend, I was just like, I can't believe this nigga said this. Mm-hmm. And then to know that they had Bridget Kelly on the show, they revisited it slightly, and she didn't even stick up for women at all on the rape conversation. I'm just like, okay, maybe she needed to be PC because she had her little PR there, and she's on Love and Hip Hop. Maybe she couldn't say certain things, but it was just, it's a touchy subject, and I just hate how people don't hold, certain people accountable.
Do you have an idea on why it's brushed off so much?
Honestly, I'm going to take it right back to the home. I think it's how people are raised.
Okay.
I honestly think it's just the raising of, if you sit here and you have your son or he's catcalling, as a mother, as a father, you need to be like, yo, don't fucking do that and embarrass the shit out of them.
Right.
I don't think that the parents in the household are sitting here teaching their children about literally not only the birds and bees, because that's the fucking basics, but what's wrong, what's right, what consent is, how to approach a female, shit, even the basics into opening doors. Like, this new generation of dating is fucking whack. They're disrespectful. They don't know how to communicate. Everything is done through text messages. So lines are blurred. People don't understand. And unfortunately, we have apps like Tinder. We have apps like where you necessarily don't even have to get to know people. You just, I just want to hook up. And then there's just so many lines of things. I definitely think it comes from the home. And just that not being a discussion.
I never even thought about that. That's a good point. No, I just think people are just trash in general.
Well, yeah, and if we want to even tie it to the current events, I don't know. I don't watch it, but I'm a fan. I don't watch Game of Thrones. But Jason Momoa, who is fine as fuck. Anyways, they just had a press conference. He could get every piece of me wrong, but we're not going to discuss that. He's so fucking fine.
That's a visual.
He just is. He's gorgeous. He's like tall as fuck. Anyways, he said some things that had me kind of side-eye him. So they just had like a panel for the Game of Thrones, whatever. I don't watch the shit. I don't know what it was for, but they had, and they asked him on this panel what he enjoyed most about playing his role on Game of Thrones. And his response was that he gets to rape good-looking women.
Whoa.
That was his response. Like, they're asking you why you like your character, and your response is, I get to rape good-looking women? And it's just like, what? And it wasn't even that he said that. It was the response that the entire audience laughed.
They laughed.
They laughed like what he had just said was so fucking funny. And it's just like,
did you just hear that shit?
Excuse me?
Did you just hear that shit he just said?
And the fact that everyone responded with laughter. That's why your friends, when you talked about a dick being in your face, they laughed. They don't fucking take it serious.
We took it serious. It was just like that scenario was just,
but see,
it wasn't amusing.
But I don't think as a man, like even when I told my guy friend and he started laughing, as someone who experienced it, even if you took it serious, to get a laughing response from a man after that it makes me feel like shit. It makes me feel like, oh, so that's something I should accept? Like, is that something that I shouldn't be upset about?
The laugh was more out of like fucking shock. Because it's like, as a man, we don't tend to experience those things from females. So when we hear stories in broad daylight, like, that's when it happened, right? It was during the day. Or was it at night?
Honestly,
it doesn't even matter when it happens.
Honestly, I'm like side-eyeing the shit out of you right now, because as a female, regardless if you don't experience, you know that it's something that's not taken lightly, that is very touchy today. And so as to say, I sat here and experienced this and your response was to laugh, there's no sympathy shown. I don't care. It's really not even funny. the entire thing is not funny.
Well,
the fact that a guy
wasn't a laugh out of like amusement. It was more of a laugh out of like just shock that some shit like that would actually happen.
I don't understand how laughter is a shocking reaction. Like, I honestly felt the same way she did. When I sat here and told my guy friend what happened, he literally started laughing and was like, yo, ha, 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 ha. And I was like, nigga, why are you laughing? And he literally was sticking up for the guy. Well, look at your hips. I know you can't hide that in work clothes. And he stuck up and didn't, like, and so I'm sure that that's how she felt of you. Because you might think it's funny to swing your dick in a bitch's face off of some jokey joke shit. And we're literally sitting here feeling violated. And it's not okay. Like, if you're on a train and you're tall, your dick is going to be in somebody's face. And you may just be doing it thinking it's a laughing matter. It's a joke. Ha, 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 ha. It's funny. When in reality, it's not. Like, it's really not. And as two females, we feel violated. We feel like our personal space is violated. And I don't know why men find this shit funny. I don't understand it.
And then the first thing people ask you is like, why didn't you do something? Well, because he's a nigga, and if I say something, he hit me. None of these motherfuckers here might have my back. I don't know if someone's going to...
Right.
I don't want to feel stupid. You're going to be all kinds of bitches. You just... It's like, what?
There's just a lot of things. And not only that, like... my mom works in a crazy house. And she told this to a lot of her coworkers. And her coworkers were like, she did the right thing. You don't know what this guy could have had on him. And it's just like, what? The fact that I now have to feel violated, but I now have to feel like I can't say anything because of what he might do back. Like, I'm in the wrong.
Yeah.
I'm not. Why can't I even defend myself when this happens? And it's because a man is stronger. A man can hurt you. A man can do this. It's bullshit. It literally leaves women fucking defenseless. And I feel like that's fucking bullshit. Because it's pretty much, as a male friend, you're going to laugh at me. And as someone who may be concerned about me, you're telling me not to react because the man could do something even more harmful to me. It's just like, okay, so as a female, I'm supposed to just be sexually assaulted. And let me not sit here and talk to my guy friends about this to even let them know how I felt so that they don't do this, because they're just going to think it's a fucking joke. And let me not sit here and retort to the actual perpetrator because there's a chance he could harm me. It leaves us literally defenseless on all ends of the fucking spectrum, which is why so many women don't want to come forward and say anything.
So
everything you're saying is true.
When it comes to rape culture and stuff like that, why do you think it's so easy for people to blame the victim?
I mean, there's a ton of different things, and I was guilty of that at one point. If I sat here and a girl said she was raped, I literally would think of all the scenarios. You have the Derrick Rose situation that happened, and she claims rape, but yet this is someone that you were fucking for 2 years. You were having sex toys. You've had threesomes. You've had all of this, and then out of nowhere you claim rape. It's like, are you able to claim rape by someone who you fucked multiple times? And so there's all of these different scenarios. There's three sides to the story. His side, her side, and the truth. And essentially, that's why I talk so much on my show about communication. Because I feel like that's where this lacks. Not only the communication of telling people what you want, but the communication of reciprocating it, listening to what they're saying, and understanding what they're saying. And if that open line of communication isn't there, that's where you could feel like, well, I thought she gave me consent. It seemed like consent. If you're not communicating, effectively, that's where these blurred lines are crossed. And that's where you have guys saying, well, she wanted it. And you have girls saying, no, I didn't. This possibly wasn't communicated effectively.
So when it comes to women who may have a promiscuous background, or whatever the case may be, or like you say you like to talk openly about sex.
Yep, and I dress in bodysuits and tights and show my titties and shake my ass.
And I like to have, open conversations about sex as well. But then because you are that way, and then you make a claim about rape, people kind of just brush that off too. Like, well, you talk about it all the time, and nigga like.
And that's the thing. I think that's just a societal thing. Like, they don't even feel like women should enjoy sex, honestly. Like, you have even, so on our show, we openly discuss having sex, and it's so funny, even the conversation of cheating. if you think of the conversation of cheating, and they just had this, I believe, on the Joe Budden podcast as well, like they talked about it. But when you talk about cheating, so many times they assume a female cheating is worse because she does it for emotional attachments. People really don't think that a bitch just want to get a nut off. Can I just not want to fuck? Like, there's females that like to fuck too. Like, and so they constantly put it into an emotional attachment without even feeling like women enjoy it too. And so when you have a woman who openly talks about sex, she's automatically put into this, well, she's a hoe. She wants it all the time. That's all she does. She can't be respected anyway. I don't respect this bitch. And it's just like, we as women can not only enjoy sex, but we can be respectful about it as well. Mm-hmm. I can sit here and openly have a conversation about sex or enjoying sucking dick, and it doesn't mean I want to suck yours.
Right.
It doesn't necessarily mean my legs are open for you. As a female, you can be sexually empowered and you can enjoy talking about this, because that's, I think, the problem. These men shun women who openly talk about it, and then you're sitting here being called rape because the bitch can't even communicate shit with you. You're just going to assume things. And so I think it's literally just the level of communication between men and women that needs to be had that isn't having had. Because you have men that are automatically putting, women into these boxes and categories and labels, and it sucks.
So, how can I say this? So we're basically just going to say that it's the misogynistic views of society.
Absolutely.
Which is why nobody really gives a fuck sometimes.
Yep.
And so what can we, I don't think there's nothing we can do as women to get people to understand or see, because people going to believe what they want to believe, and they're going to have their own opinions about certain things. But, well, what can we say to women exactly going through situations like this? Like, how can we communicate effectively?
It's so odd because we're supposed to have this platform, which oddly enough, so our show is called Whoreible Decisions with the word whore in it. And we did it ironically, like, of course, because we talk about sex and dating, and it's a label that we don't want to say. Mm-hmm. Amber Rose has started this platform of no slut shaming and the slut walk, and I absolutely disagree with it. For someone who's, I guess, what is it? I talk my
sexually on the
yeah, like I'm open sexually.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Her message to me is completely construed. I think I don't like how she's like, we could be whores, we could be sluts. Don't rape me though. Don't. I think it's not executed very well. I think just as a woman, there's a way that I wouldn't say carry yourself, because I think that's fucking bullshit too. Because just because I have a mini skirt on still doesn't mean I want to fuck you. You know what I mean? Right. Unfortunately, I don't think it's anything that women can do. The only thing as a woman that we need to do is start raising our sons to respect this. It has to be, like I said, and it goes back to in the household. As a female, you need to teach your sons from right and wrong. And not even a woman. You're saying what should a woman do? But as a woman, if your friends are laughing at you, you need to be like, no, nigga, this shit is not funny. You need to teach your friends. You need to teach all the men around you how we feel, what our response is, and why we feel fucking helpless. And we need to somehow get into the minds of these men to change their outlook on things. And it needs to start from a young age. So as a woman who doesn't want to experience this, you need to get into your man's head. Even I see little kids go around slapping on titties, and people think toddlers, it's so cute when toddlers grab at tits and grab at ass, and you need to be like, no, honestly, you don't do that.
I yoked a little boy up in the bodega, I think last year sometime. He came in there and took both his little dirty, crusty ass hands and palmed my ass.
Yeah.
When I tell you I yoked that little nigga up in the store,
yeah.
His mother said, well, what happened? My friend was like, he grabbed her ass. She was like, oh, and kept walking. Bitch, oh.
My point.
So you trying to get this ass whooping?
My point.
It's like, so your son is 9 years old walking around grabbing ass. And he just put one hand. He walked behind me, put both his hands on both cheeks.
My point.
Like, what?
My point. As a 9-year-old, and your mother just goes and say, oh, that means he's going to continue this behavior as he gets older. Yep. And that is something that needs to be stopped when they're young. Even catcalling, all of that shit. Like, as a mother, you need to embarrass the fuck out of your son. And you need to let him know that is not how the fuck you approach a woman. That is not how you treat a woman. And that is not how you sit here and have an interaction with a woman. It's not respectable, and it's not acceptable, and it's not appropriate. And so I feel like that experience right there is what the fuck the problem is. Because when he gets older, he gonna sit here and think it's okay to walk by and grab ass, whether it be in the club, whether it be in the subway, whether it be a bitch walking down the street.
You gonna think it's okay mother
didn't even say anything, and mother is a female. So if my mom doesn't have a problem with it, why the fuck would the next bitch have a problem with it? And if the next bitch does, well, you're not my mom, so you know what I mean? So I definitely think it starts from the motherfucking household, for sure. 1,000%.
I would agree. 100%. Because that's, like you said, that's where it starts. Because it's usually either a lack of strong parents or a lack of a parent in general.
Yeah.
That's there to structure the child.
I had this stupid question. How can we make women feel more comfortable coming forward when it comes to, like, sexual harassment, rape, and stuff like that? Considering nobody ever takes it seriously. Like, people don't fucking take it seriously at all. So I read the question. I'm like, that doesn't. It's no possible way. The only thing I can say is if it's like a sister or a brother or a friend, just take them seriously. Like, don't be so quick to write them off. That's the most. What's
crazy, and I've never shared this story. It happened in my family.
Right.
My cousin, who we did not know, was being sexually molested by my uncle for her entire life. We did not know this at all. And we didn't know until recently because she got pregnant. Found out she was having a daughter, and that's when she decided to tell the whole family. And it's because I think something triggered where she realized she didn't want that happening to her daughter. So I literally got a call from my dad because it was my dad's brother. And I got a call from my dad, and he was like, Uncle, I'm not going to say his name, but he never touched you, did he? He never did this. And luckily, he didn't touch me or any of my sisters. But to know this was happening to my cousin, and none of us knew. She never said anything, and literally didn't say anything until she was pregnant with a daughter that she had the courage to come out. And because this happened, he got deported back to Jamaica. And so he's not even in the States anymore. And it's odd because you could even tense the kind of friction within the family, because now not only, did this happen amongst us and none of us knew, as women, we were all just like, oh my God, we can't believe this was happening. We can't believe she didn't share it with us. And then from a guy standpoint, like, they were just like, damn, he's deported now. Like, what the fuck? Da-da-da. Right. And you could see that even the sympathy was not there as much from our male relatives as they were for the females. And my dad more so was just like, wanted to make sure he didn't touch me or my sisters. But the fact that she felt like she couldn't say anything.
It makes you wonder.
Or why? It's just like, why?
I think it's an embarrassment factor.
For sure.
Like, you're embarrassed to let someone know that happened to you.
Yeah.
And then me personally being who I am, I'm very outspoken. There are moments and there's been situations to where I just felt like I can't say nothing because it's embarrassing. I'm like, well, you are who you are, so why didn't you handle the situation?
Right.
It's levels to it. It's you start to feel insecure, you feel disgusting, you kind of feel humiliated. You don't know how people are going to look at you. You don't know what they're going to say about you. And then a lot of times you don't want people to use one situation as a way to attach it to you to explain why you do everything else.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Right.
Like, this one thing happens and now all of a sudden everything you do after that is somehow backtracks. Oh, because that happened to you, so this is why.
Right.
It's funny. It's hard to maneuver in those kind of situations when it comes to, molestation.
Right.
And assault. It's just you don't know.
Yeah, and it's literally sucks that everything that happens to a female and how she reacts and what happens to her is all relayed back to men. Like, even for our show and what we talk about, it's always like, oh, they must have daddy issues. If a girl is a hoe or promiscuous, it's because she has daddy issues. Or, and it's absolutely, you've never heard that?
I've listened to y'all show numerous times, and nothing that y'all ever say made me think about how y'all was raised.
Really?
Not at all.
It's funny because if you, even on Black Twitter, and I'm heavy on Twitter, and people often associate promiscuous women with women who weren't raised by a dad, and it's because they often think that they're out there searching for love from a man, or searching for this affection from a man, searching for what they didn't receive from their dad. And it's just like, once again, to feel like everything is associated back to you, and to make sure, like, it's just, it irks me. Or to think that we dress a certain way. Yeah, we're not in control of shit. You, like, niggas even assume that we dress sexy for y'all. Why can't we be dressing sexy for ourselves? Like,
bitch,
literally.
I look good as fuck. And it ain't for you.
And it's not for you. It's because I want to feel good about myself. And literally, you guys make women powerless in every sense of the fucking matter, and make it seem like if we do anything, it's because of a man. And if we did, like, and it just fucking irks me, because as women, we can enjoy sex by ourselves. As women, we can want to feel sexy about ourselves. As women, we can, you know, go about doing these things without having fucking daddy issues. Like, it fucking hurts me.
Right. I am who I am because of who I am. It doesn't have to be because of a father.
Right.
It doesn't have to be because of the situation I had. That's just fucking me.
Right.
Like, suck my dick. Like, I don't know.
Right.
I knew that was coming.
People get me like, I don't know. And it's come from family, comes from everybody. And I know y'all listening right now. I am who I am. Whatever you don't know about me, you don't know, because it's none of your fucking business, and I don't want to tell you. But just because you might hear something doesn't make it invalid, because you're not familiar with that.
Right.
You just don't know who I am.
Right.
So, take it, shut up your ass, and leave me alone.
I know that's right.
So, you know, now we're going to get to something more fun. Okay.
Oh,
so we want you to tell us every little thing about you, especially our listeners.
Shit.
I'm just joking.
I wasn't ready for this. What the fuck are we doing now?
I'm just joking. Not everything, but we do want to get more into you, because
we didn't want this to be like an extra deep episode.
Okay. Because our listeners might not be familiar with your show, whatever. Okay. We do have a couple
you have
of
questions
for you.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
I like questions. Don't
well,
have me just run down a bio. I never. Well, tell me about yourself. The worst question in the interview.
You be like,
I fucking hate that shit.
Wow, I'm an Aquarius.
What do I tell you, right?
I like bacon.
I fucking hate that interview question. Well, before we start, why don't you tell us about yourself, my nigga?
Nigga, I need my money.
The fucking elevator pitch.
I need a job.
Oh, fuck the elevator pitch. Okay, so yes, ask questions. I'm cool with answering.
So we're gonna get.
Well, I guess your claim to fame was being a sports blogger.
Yes.
So what got into
so, well, even prior to that, I was a model. I was like a fucking social media. Like, I hopped on social media.
I did some Googles, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Save this picture.
Yeah, about that.
Believe him, he really probably did.
So I did like the whole modeling, like the straight stunting, Urban Ink. I did music videos. I did all that shit for a very short period of time, and I was very young. So when I got into that, like, I was published in 2 magazines my senior year of high school.
That's
so
cool.
I was in Straight Stunting and I was in Urban Ink my senior year of high school. And then that was just more so, I just realized, like, people only saw me because of, you know, my pictures, and I was being approached only for certain things. And mind you, in high school, I played volleyball, I played basketball, I was in AAU, I was in intramurals. I've always been a sports head. And so when Twitter came about, I was not only this pretty girl, but I was super into sports. Super into it. I tweeted about it. I would give, like, play-by-plays, you know, on my phone. And so I followed Rob from Black Sports Online. Mm-hmm. And he pretty much was just like, listen, you do this for free. Why not build a platform on it? Mm-hmm. And so he pretty much took me under his wing. He was my mentor. Shout out Black Sports Online. And he helped me curate Full Court Pumps. And through Full Court Pumps, I pretty much, it was pretty much the TMZ of sports, people would say, because I definitely focused more on the gossip side of things, because I realized that's where my clicks were coming from.
Right.
That's what people fucking wanted to hear. They didn't care about me talking about the game and my, you know, they cared about what athlete was fucking who, and, you know, what model was seen with who, and who was pregnant by who. And so that's where my blog kind of took a world of its own. And So for 2 seasons, I was credentialed media with the Orlando Magic.
Mm-hmm.
And then my blog took me, I did red carpet at the ESPY Awards in 2011. So I just was able to, I had personal relations with athletes. I was friends with athletes. I was booking athletes. I was hooking athletes up with other girls. And it got to the point where it was starting to affect my personal life. Because I would go out and certain niggas would be like, oh no, that's the blogger girl. And so it would be to where these niggas started feeling uncomfortable around me. And it was just like, nigga, if you know me, I don't put my personal dealings or niggas I fuck with on my blog. It's just, you know. Right. And it's crazy because my shit was copy and paste from TMZ. My nigga, don't do stupid shit if you don't want to be in a blog.
Talk about it,
right. You don't be doing stupid shit, nigga. I don't create these stories about you. You really doing this shit. What the fuck you want me to do? And so it just got really negative with everything I got going on. I was just like, you know, it's not really worth it. Right. And then at the time I had just started back into school because blogging is really up and down. I can have a great month and get mad money from Google and sponsorships and ads, and then I could go a couple months with a couple $100. Okay. And it's just like, it was just too inconsistent. I was like, you know what? Let me get back into school because what I want to do, I'm going to need that fucking sheet of paper. And when I got back into school, there was just no way to keep up with my studies and run a blog.
And that.
It was a lot.
So that's how it came to an end?
Yes. It came to an end because of school, and it just brought too much drama in my life that I was burnt out from.
So how exactly did Whoreible Decisions come about, your podcast?
So, me and my co-host, she moved up here a year ago.
Shout out to Weezy.
Yes, we were friends, like best friends in high school in Orlando. We're both from Orlando. And she went on a podcast called the No Chasers podcast. Mm-hmm. That was her first time on a podcast, and they boosted her little ass head up. And she felt like, oh my God, I did so good on this podcast. I need my own. And of course, I guess all of her people, she couldn't think of anyone else to have. You know, we had just recently rekindled our friendship and started talking. And I had done a podcast previously. I did a sports podcast. It was called Point Taken, and I had Lamar Woodley from the Steelers as a co-host with a radio personality from Pittsburgh. So I had already done this. She knew that I, maintain my blog. This is what I do. I'm a curator of fucking brands and content. That's what I love, creating content. And so she was like, we should do a podcast together. And I have an idea. It should be about sex and dating, and I want to call it Whoreible. And I was just like, okay. So we sat at lunch, and I was like, Whoreible. Okay, but we got to add something else behind that. And so I was like, decisions. And we literally sat, wrote what our outline was going to be, what we were going to talk about on the show. And here we are, and we decided we would bring on other guests onto the show to discuss their sex. Because like I said, sex is something that's not easily spoken on in not only our community, but in this generation. And then also to bring it to a light where neither of us are in the sex industry. We're both in corporate. I work currently in finance, and she's in telecommunications. And just to know that as two corporate women, we too have fucking mind-blowing sex. And you don't have to be ashamed of it, and you don't have to be a porn star or a sex worker to enjoy and be open about sex.
When did you know it was a hit, though? Like, when did you know that moment, like, oh, this shit is lit?
Nigga, I'm not gonna lie. Honestly, I think what helped us more than anything is that I kind of already sat on a following.
Okay.
With my Instagram and Twitter. So, even just comparing ourselves to other, like, podcasts, we were like, nigga, we hitting 1,000 already? Like, that shit is, and we're like Googling. We researched our asses off about podcasts, what to expect, numbers, like, and I'm super into analytics. I did it with my blog. So I'm like literally looking at how we can grow our listenership, and we need guests, we need followers, we need advertising, we need this. And the fact that people were hitting me that I hadn't heard from years, and we're just like, yo, your shit is dope. Or like, we just had Gabby Sidibe. If you guys don't know who's that's Precious, or she's also on Empire now.
Empire, yeah.
She just followed our Whoreible Decisions page. And so just knowing that people of different walks of life and calibers were listening to our show, I think the point that kind of hit us both was when we went to the Brilliant Idiots live show, and people were walking up to us and were like, we recognize your voice. And they were asking to take pictures with us. Even more so, I had people recognizing me at work, which is like, no, you're not supposed to listen or know who the fuck I am. And it's just like, and I work in a very conservative investment bank.
Right. So then it's like,
I don't want you to know that I'm talking about fucking pissing on people. No.
Right.
But honestly, just the response from people. Like, even we have a live show. If you're in New York City and want to see us live, it's December 1st. But our live show, we've sold 80% of the tickets in 2 weeks.
Dope.
So, and that's just from, we have people flying in from the UK, from Chicago, from Toronto, from Georgia, from Florida. The fact that people are flying in to hear us talk is just like, yo, this is fucking dope. And even the listener letters. People write us and say how we've inspired them, or we've got them to open up. And we have a lot of virgins writing us, which I think is fucking weird. But I'm like, no, you're a virgin and you're listening to us? And also couples. We have couples that write us. I took pictures with couples at the Brilliant Idiots live show. And it's just like, to know that you guys listen to this and are able to use this as a stepping stone to talk about these things that maybe you wouldn't have brought up any other way. Like, you know, maybe you ain't know your nigga wanted to get pissed on. And now because we talked about fucking golden showers, you could be like, so has that ever crossed your mind?
Want some champagne, babe?
You know, you want your ass licked? Like, you know, all of that. And what? You know what? Champagne what?
I feel like when I drink a lot of champagne, I always have to, like, pee more. So, you ever
oh. Yeah, it just hurts my stomach.
No, yeah?
Champagne don't really fuck with me. Liquor, though, goes right through me. Which is why my nigga, he brought Ciroc when he wanted me to piss on him. And
Ciroc.
And had it flowing.
Can't do Ciroc.
What he did. He wanted me to piss on him. And I said the story. It took me a while to piss on him because psychologically, my mind was not trying to piss on this nigga. But I eventually got the piss out and it flowed.
Before I pee on somebody.
I did. It has to.
It's the same when you go to the doctor. When you go to the doctor, they be like, pee in a cup. You
and
like,
you can't pee in the cup. I can't pee in a cup.
So you in the bathroom like, la la la.
And you gotta piss first before you like scoop the cup under there. Like, okay, now it's gonna go in the cup. If you just hold the cup under your vagina,
it's not gonna
come out because psychologically it's just fucking weird.
It's just not.
So yeah.
Good to know. Good to know.
It's cool. We know y'all bend over and get fingers in your butt. It's cool.
Prostate
check.
I don't see Kanye West in here.
Oh, okay.
Men don't like having their prostate
bullshit.
checked. I keep trying to
bullshit. I don't know who you fucking.
No, I'm talking about going to the doctor.
Oh, because I was like, I take my finger. I mean, not right now because my nails are a little long, so I have a length where I know not to violate.
Oh, well, there's a time.
I'm just saying, niggas like that ass play. They with the bullshit. And I don't know, shit, back to current events, you know, Gabrielle Union just came out and openly said that she enjoys, and Dwayne Wade enjoys her licking his ass.
Did she say that?
Yes.
Directly, though? Because I watched segments of it, and I think they took it.
Deal,
if you licking pussy, my nigga, the asshole is right.
Millimeters.
Like, it's right millimeters away. You've licked ass. Like, you just have. Even for a female. If you down there touching the gooch, licking balls, you down there probably licking ass, goddamn.
Right.
And it's just a thing.
You qualify.
Right.
So,
I don't know why
I enjoy the violation. I like dealing with men's butts.
The pegging thing. So
we talked about pegging on the show as well. And I have a thing where I enjoy dominance. Not only do I enjoy dominance, I'm 5'1", and majority of the niggas I deal with are 6'3" plus. And so I just enjoy the role of me being in charge. And so I have got into, of course, it took baby steps. You know, we may have started with the tongue, then the fingers, then it's like, well, nigga, can we do a toy? And then the toy maybe left into, now it's on my fucking hips and I'm fucking you. That's something that pleases me. It doesn't please everyone.
Everybody.
And if a nigga doesn't want to do it, it's not like, okay, we cancel it out. But it's something that I have done and I enjoyed it. And it was fucking fun.
I wish I could talk about this more, but I can't.
Okay. That's fine.
Did you get any like backlash? Well, of course we talked about you got backlash from doing this podcast. Of course, people had.
But did you had to know you was gonna get some before you started?
Were you concerned about that? Were you worried about like family members listening?
My mom actually was just like proud of me. She was like, she's she don't want me to say her age, but my mom is 48. And she's like, some of the things that you're talking about are some things that I'm just now experiencing and experimenting with at 48 years old. So to know that you have this platform where not only are you educating and openly discussing these things, you're doing it to where people know they don't have to be ashamed.
Lighthearted.
Yeah. Oh, we make it very funny.
And fun.
Because sex is fucking funny. It's fucking funny. We fucking pissing on people out here. This is fucking hilarious. but like, it's said in a light because it is such a serious conversation a lot, that we love to bring not only a comedic aspect to it, but an educational and informational aspect to it. So we do, tell people go get tested. We do tell people to use condoms. We don't sit here and promote reckless sex, but we promote sex. We promote you enjoying yourself and pleasing yourself and really taking sexuality to the level that it needs to be taken at. Mm-hmm. We're not here. I mean, clearly, if you want to go to the biblical form of it, sex is just supposed to be a reproductional thing. And, bitch, I don't want kids. But a bitch want to catch this nut. So we gonna sit here and talk about how you can literally use sex and, I guess, the recreational, the casual aspects of sex, not the reproduction sides of sex. And so, has dating been impossible? Yes, because if you go to my fucking Instagram, whore is all over it. A nigga don't want to cuff a whore. They always say, I ain't wifing no slut, I ain't wifing no hoe, and yet you go to my page and I'm sitting here advocating, hey whores, come catch your favorite whore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm literally calling myself a whore, even though I may not label myself as whore. To me, we just feel like it's just another label. It's just another thing to degrade women. Right. Period. You got slut, you got bitch, you got whore, you got hoe, you got all of these things to degrade women that for some reason never apply to men, even though they could be doing the same exact shit as us. So we wanted to make laughter of this label. But it has been brought up. Like, my nigga, you have a banana in your mouth. We know the innuendo of that. We know what, that's to be. And you think I want my girlfriend out here with bananas in her mouth? So it's definitely caused some issues.
Till you see the numbers from that live show sell out.
Right.
Real
and,
nigga ain't gonna be worried about
even
that.
Our numbers now, like, we're hitting the mark where we have multiple episodes above 10,000 listens. So it's just like, even mentally, I'm just like, oh my God, over 10,000 people have heard that I pissed on this nigga in the shower in Vegas. And like 10,000 people have listened to me pegging a guy, and 10,000 people have. So the fact that I now am having to realize that people are knowing what I am doing in the bedroom, it's just like,
yeah.
But it's just like, it's me. Do we say names? No. Do I sit here and openly discuss my relations that I've had in the past with XYZ? No. But I don't think that what you do in the bedroom, you should be ashamed of.
Right.
And I think that that's kind of what we promote with our show.
I agree with that.
So I guess lastly, like, what is y'all, like, goals for the show? Like, do y'all
Nigga, to make bread. To make all the coins. Well, right now we're even talking with different networks to possibly bring what we do to television. We have a ton of people asking us to come to their cities, so possibly even traveling with the live shows. And then we're just now introducing merch. So I'm working on t-shirts right now, stickers, things to give our listeners, our whore gang. We haven't really decided what we're going to call them yet.
I want to be a part of the whore gang.
We haven't decided what we're going to use yet.
Like,
gang. You're already a part of it, girl.
Bitch is lit already.
And then, honestly, just continuing to grow the numbers. We are starting a Patreon account for people who want to support us and what we're doing. And with that, we're going to be dropping video footage, extra episodes. We're going to allow them to get, for really good patrons, we're going to allow them tickets to the live show. They're going to be able to not only communicate with us, but give us ideas for future shows. And so we definitely want to include our listeners in what we're doing as much as possible. And this shit costs money, so bitch, we're trying to collect the coins instead of keep putting it out, because we're paying for studio time, we're paying for edit. Like,
we can definitely relate to everything we just fucking said.
It's not a hobby. And I told her before we started this, I said, listen, I'm very fucking busy. I'm booked and busy, bitch. I don't have time for another hobby. So I said, bitch, if I don't see this shit adding up in the next 6 months, I'm sorry, you got to find someone else. Now I'm just like overwhelmed with the amount of things that we're having to do right now. So honestly, the sky's the limit. I love The Read and what they do, and I think they're pioneers of this fucking podcast shit. And I want to be on that motherfucking level. I want to sit here and make my 6 racks off of telling y'all I just got dick last night. Like, let me make bread off this, and that's essentially the goal with this.
So what kind of advice can you give to other people doing a podcast thing, trying to be on your level?
And there's 2 things.
Right.
If you could just sit here and think of 2 C's, that's what you have to do. The 2 C's are content and consistency.
Gotcha.
And I think the biggest thing that people do is they start a podcast and maybe they don't post on the same day every week. Or maybe they don't post weekly at all. Maybe they just record when they in the mood to talk about their friends. And they want to get in front of a mic and just have the discussion.
Yeah, it got really trendy to like have it. From when we started,
it's a trendy thing to do
from
now.
when we started to now, I've seen a lot of motherfuckers pile up.
Right.
So when I be coming on here talking shit, it'd be like, yo, I know y'all niggas ain't gonna last.
So, but that's the thing. So you want to have the consistency to where your followers know. Like, you don't understand. If we 2 hours late on posting on Saturday, we get messages like, nigga, where the show? I listen to you guys every Saturday at the gym, or I listen to you guys every Monday when I go to work. People get a routine. So if you're not going to be consistent, you're going to lose followers. And another thing, honestly, is content. If you have good content, word of mouth is how the fuck it's going to spread. And I think aside from me having an already base following, the fact that people dig our content, our layout, our outline. We literally had people say, I feel like it's a structured show. It's not just y'all getting on the mic talking. And people appreciate that. People are listening to talk radio to hone in on certain discussions. So I think you need to give it to them. People don't just want to sit in a group hearing a whole bunch of people over talk each other about current events and all like. And then that's the thing. Aside from those 2 C's, have a niche. Know what's going to separate your podcast from all the other thousands of podcasts. Like, people compare us to lip service, where everyone knows we're completely different from them now. And even though we talk about sex, we have a specific niche that we don't know any other podcast that does right now. And we're bringing normal people in there to talk about unfiltered shit sexually that people are uncomfortable about talking about. So if you can sit here and hone in on, this is what I can share with people, and this is why they're going to want to listen to me instead of someone else, that's what you have to think about. If you want to do this to make money.
Right.
If you want to do this for something more than just a hobby.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
That's my advice. And yeah, so yeah, I guess for any of you guys that care to listen, you guys can catch me weekly. Every Saturday we post Whoreible Decisions, and that's spelled Whoreible Decisions. You can also follow us on Instagram at Whoreible_decisions. And I'm Mandii B. You can follow me at Full Court Pumps on Instagram and Twitter.
Yep, there we go. So, ladies and gentlemen,
That
has been our fucking show. No,
not at all. We don't really have guests like that
at
often.
all.
So.
That really brings us so much energy.
We like.
Usually, I'm that one. Like, okay, so
that's me. I know your listeners are gonna be like, this bitch too high.
It's like it's 2 of them.
Well, thank you guys so much for having me. I enjoyed this.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Now I'm gonna go fucking eat and drink tequila.
Oh, I can't even have tequila. Fuck. But
bye, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. I want to say thank you to, I guess, Mandii B for coming through and hanging out or whatever. And again, I'm Nieema Simone.
I'm Steven.
This has been Sophisticated Ignorance, and bye-bye.
Bye.